Welcome home, masters and misses. My name is HidoriKuro, and welcome back at last to another episode of House Odyssey Reacts. Sorry it's been so long since my last video. I unfortunately got sick, and I couldn't not record because I was coughing every 10 freaking minutes. And let me tell you, trying to get over that with me, my immune system, not fun. But I'm well enough now. And guess what? I'm on vacation this week, so expect back-to-back uploads throughout this entire week until Friday, because I'm going to be busy with something Friday and will not be at my computer at all until the Sunday afternoon at earliest, and if my schedule goes according. But anyway, now here to hear about that, you're here to hear about this. We are watching the next death battle between Simon the Digger from Gurren Lagann versus Kyle Rayner, the White Lanterns. Full disclosure, I know nothing about White Lanterns. I think of all the Lantern Corps, I think they represent life. I'm guessing here, honestly, because we know the Green Lanterns represent willpower, the Sinestro Corps represent fear, Red Lanterns are hate, Star Sapphires are love. I think the Blue Lanterns are supposed to be hope. I think that's what I remember. The Blue Lanterns are supposed to be hope. And Orange Lanterns are greed. I think that's right. So I'm thinking either White Lanterns are life, or I may have forgotten something. I don't know. When it came to the Lanterns, I barely give them that much attention out of all the superheroes in DC. Now, Gurren Lagann, I know a tiny bit. I've only seen bits and pieces on Toonami back when I was younger. What I do know is that they were animated by one of the best anime studios ever, Studio Triggered, the same studio that animated Brand New Animal, Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I think they animated Panty and Stocking as well. And my top tier favorite, Kill la Kill. If I remember correctly, Gurren Lagann had a lot of mechs, though. So how's a mech going to contend with a lantern? Guess this is battle's for, so let's sit down, enjoy our coffee, let's get into it, shall we?
Simon the Digger,
Kyle Rayner, the White Lantern.
two men born of Earth with the willpower to pierce the heavens and conquer infinity.
He's Wiz and I'm Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze their weapons, armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Let's get to the analysis.
Deep underground, Jiha Village lived in dreary isolation, oblivious to the wider world above their squalid cave.
That's where the hero of our story comes in. The young man who would lead his comrades into the sunlight at last. Kamina, the great and mighty. Oh, and his little brother from another mother, Simon. He was there too, I guess.
Simon was a digger, content to drill endlessly through the dirt.
Not
until
Simon.
the day he found the
It's a monkey kind in another
The
universe.
key that activated the mysterious buried mech that Kamina named Lagann. Under his magnificently masculine leadership, Kamina finally drilled their way to freedom, seeing the sun after a life in the dark.
But the sky was by no means the limit. The surface was ruled by the cruel chimeric beastmen, and Kamina would lead his compatriots against them to reclaim the Earth for humanity, scoring a second mech in the process, aptly named Gurren.
And as befits Kamina and Simon's unbreakable brotherly bond, Gurren and Lagann merged, creating Gurren Lagann.
With Kamina piloting the body and Simon the head, these two were unstoppable.
Damn.
Of all the giant fighting robots in all the animes across history, Gurren Lagann might just be the absolute coolest, fueled by its pilot's willpower and
It
capable
runs
of
on
making
willpower.
any
Okay,
weapon
now I
they
see
can
why this
imagine.
good that's
Including
matchup.
missiles, a jetpack,
Raises
a
the ultimate
sunglasses
scenes,
boomerang,
drills,
and of
missiles,
course,
sunglasses,
Drills,
boomerang.
wrist-mounted drills, kunai drills, shield drills, kamehameha
How do you have shield drills?
and everyone's favorite, the Giga Drill Bureku. Side note, it is so
Damn.
funny that the only thing they could think of was drills. That's like if I made booze or something, my whole personality. What up?
With Gurren
I
Lagann's
mean-
awesome power, Kamina laid waste to enemy forces, liberated human villages, and fomented a rebellion against the Beastmen King, Lord Genome.
Until Kamina died. Oh, wait, shit, was that supposed to happen?
Nope, and it was all
Huh?
Simon's fault. He let his willpower waver, and his soul brother paid the price. After all, he was just a humble digger, at home in the darkness, guided solely by the light of Kamina's spirit.
So his big bro left him with these final words. Have faith in the Simone who believes in you. Damn.
Kamina was the one looking up to him the whole time. It was Simone who found Logon, Simone who pierced the surface, and Simone who would now lead humanity to victory.
Especially with his gal pal Nia at his side, who helped pull him out of his rut and kick Lord Genome's ass. But victory only lasted 7 years before the anti-spiral attacked.
Unimaginably powerful godlike aliens, the anti-spiral feared humanity's potential, what they dubbed the spiral nemesis.
Remember how Gurren Lagann runs on fighting spirit?
Yeah.
Turns out that's just a manifestation of spiral power, an energy that all spiral beings, like humans, have. That's right, the laws of physics run on chutzpah.
Just as the spiral turned inward represents endless obsession and madness, the spiral turned outward spins forever into infinity, the perfect representation of humanity's evolutionary potential.
Potential Simon would use as he led Team Dai Gurren across the multiverse to take the fight to the anti-spiral. And this is when Gurren Lagann gets crazy.
Channeling spiral
As
power
most
lets you
Studio
constantly
Triggers
adapt
anime.
to threats, no matter how overwhelming. Simone can create portals to different realities and higher dimensions. He can generate force fields, absorb energy attacks, and even merge Gurren Lagann with bigger and stronger machines.
Creating
Super
the
Tengen
Gurren
Toppa
Lagann,
Gurren Lagann?
which is strong enough to shatter space and time with a punch.
Or the Super Galaxy Gurren Lagann, which can fire lasers that are fast enough to hit, and I quote, all time, space, and dimensions, all within a Planck instant.
That's the smallest unit of time physically possible.
Meaning each
Physically
laser would have to
possible?
be moving 4.6 times 10 to the 117th power times faster.
Too
than
much
light.
math! Too much math! Good lord! I cannot comprehend.
Well, looks like this wins the award for fastest calculated speed feat in our show's history.
Holy
Congratulations,
shit.
Gurren Lagann.
Move over, SpongeBob. You've been dethroned. Oh, and the guidebook says they hit an innumerable number of enemies across infinite universes. You literally cannot calculate how fast that is.
No, you
Wasn't
cannot.
enough to escape the anti-spiral's greatest trap, the multiverse labyrinth. An attack
what?
that imprisons Simon in his own unique multiverse, forced to experience an infinite number of alternate realities that controlled his mind, permanently arresting him in a dream world.
Except Simone and his spiral power are just built different. And after being inspired by his bro, Simone absorbed that whole multiverse to escape.
What makes this even more impressive is that this labyrinth was 11-dimensional.
11 dim-
Simon
hold on,
absorbed
what?
a higher dimensional structure several orders of infinity greater than himself. The jump between dimensions is basically infinite. Each new dimension adds a new direction of space that extends infinitely, thus an infinite gap in size and scope.
What?
Oh, we're just getting started.
We're
Imagine
just-
a
come on
two-dimensional
now.
drawing interacting with a three-dimensional person.
Okay. That's not
Okay.
too far off from what actually happened.
Because when Simon absorbed the multiverse labyrinth, he merged with every alternate universe version of himself, including an alternate universe Simon who is writing his own alternate universe version of Gurren Lagann. And
What?
that author's spiral power made his fictional Simon real, adding another
Huh.
to the mix.
Hold
Wait,
on.
If every human being has spiral power, you're telling me we can all do this shit?
This all gave our Simone enough spiral power to form the next step in mecha evolution, Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann.
This
Oh.
is when Gurren Lagann gets actually fucking crazy.
Before
shooting
now?
missiles that alter probabilities so they have a 100% chance of hitting you, or tossing galaxies around like frisbees.
Oh,
Sorry,
damn.
did I say galaxies? I meant universes.
Simon's power
Okay,
was
now you're
so
doing too
immense that
much.
he started generating super spiral space, a higher dimension encompassing our own universe.
With it, Simone turns his thoughts into reality, letting him create his mech and all of its weapons in the first place.
Not only does this mean he no longer needs co-pilots, he can also regenerate any damage done to him or his mech just by willing it back into existence.
Okay, now that's
Like
too
when
much
Lord
willpower.
Genome used
So.
spiral power to survive quantum breakdown, or the time Nia, now the best wife in the universe, used spiral power to constantly regenerate her body from being erased at the informational level for 7 days straight.
Information
Damn.
in physics is essentially the ones and zeros that make up every possible outcome in reality. Nia literally regenerated from the statistical certainty of her own destruction.
If I have spiral power, whiz, when the fuck is my leg growing back?
When even this was not enough for the anti-spiral, Simon evolved one more time.
into
How's it still evolving?
Super Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann!
This mech is so big, its size is literally incalculable. And with a drill somehow even larger than that, Simon and his friends shattered the anti-spiral once and for all.
Hey, cruel indifference of the universe! Meet the indomitable human spirit!
He really went through hands with the god.
That Simon's drill is the drill that would pierce the heavens.
With no more worlds left to conquer, Simon chose to wander the earth for the rest of his days, in service to others.
Always looking up. For all the lights in the sky are stars, and every star another world of spiral cousins that can live free.
All thanks to a humble digger.
The universe is a dangerous place.
That's the
Should
White
you find
Lanterns.
yourself face to face with an interdimensional vampire, alien dictators, or this one really pissed off cat, you know who to call.
The Green Lantern Corps. They're the Space
Easily.
Fuzz, an intergalactic police force founded billions of years ago by blue leprechaun gods.
And the greatest Green Lantern among them was everyone's favorite, Hal Jordan.
You know him. You love him. You might hate him.
Gee, you think?
You gotta
Yes, we're still mad
respect
about
the
that
man
one.
with a will as unbreakable as Hal's.
Until the day his will broke.
After his hometown got completely obliterated, Hal lost his mind. He rampaged through the core, killing everyone in his path, and absorbed the central power battery, the literal Green Lantern.
Becoming the Emerald Tyrant, Parallax.
There was only
Damn.
one survivor of Parallax's killing spree, Ganthet. And with what remained of his strength, he gave the last Green Lantern ring in the universe to a human, Kyle Rayner.
So,
Could've given it
was
to
Kyle
anybody
picking his
else.
Indomitable willpower like Hal was?
He was just there. He had no idea what was going on. Must feel good being given the most dangerous magical weapon in existence to figure out on your own.
Yeah.
Hey, if Colonel Sanders, Daffy Duck, Space Sweet, and a sentient fox can master it, what's
Right, I
your
remember that
excuse,
episode
Kyle?
of Duck
The Green Lantern
Dodgers.
ring can do anything, fulfilling any wish its user desires as though it were a genie from a lamp.
It lets you fire energy blasts, create force fields, affect gravity, turn invisible and intangible, manipulate matter, time travel, warp reality, and erase things from existence.
Think we're exaggerating? Well,
We are
consider
not.
the time Kyle stretched the very fabric of space to increase the Planck length a billion times over.
Oh,
That's
Jesus.
like stretching an inch into a light year.
Lanterns control time and space, letting them fly so fast they can create a Speed Force singularity.
Tapping into the Speed Force requires entering a higher dimension of space, requiring speeds that are not only faster than light, but totally immeasurable. And the rings have an
Ow.
artificial intelligence that operates just as fast, automatically protecting its user from danger.
Like the time that Poozer Kilowog survived being erased from existence by the crisis on Infinite Earth.
The ring is fueled by its user's willpower and limited only by their imagination.
While Hal may have had
Yep.
the greatest willpower in the Corps, Kyle's imagination is unmatched, probably because he's a comic book artist. And we know from this show, they think of some wild shit.
Yep.
The Green Lantern's most recognizable ability is their constructs.
Right.
Kyle's
It's always the
special-
constructs.
Samurai armor, pirate ships, giant dragons, actual working home computers,
Huh?
and his favorite, super fighting robots. Hey, that one looks familiar.
Kyle can make them
I wonder
strong enough to
why.
lift the Spectre, who weighs as much as eternity.
Or hold back a 12.3 dimensional Big Bang. Wait, 0.3? DC's multiverse has 12.3 dimensions? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The ring's only downside is that it's limited to 24 hours before needing a recharge.
Right, those things
So
need to
it
be
can
charged.
blow up universes, but it has the battery of an iPhone.
Yep.
Never mind. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Although I'd say Kyle's biggest weakness was Kyle. With great power
Ow.
came no responsibility.
Perhaps
yeah.
a manifestation of Kyle's self-doubt. Any reflection came too late, though, when one of Kyle's villains brutally murdered his girlfriend, Alex, and put her body in a fridge.
Kyle wasn't the only one traumatized.
Damn.
This moment was so infamous, it started the trope called fridging.
For how female
Oh,
characters
Jesus.
are often sacrificed as mere plot devices to further a male character's development.
So it
I never
might
understood
surprise
that.
you that it happened to Kyle again.
Kyle
How?
finally got serious. He became a prominent member of the Justice League, faced off against Hal, and even rebuilt the Green Lantern Corps better than ever.
But little did he know, this torchbearer's greatest journey had only just begun.
In order to save Ganthet from an emotional lobotomy. It's a long story. He had to master
Probably.
all the colors of the emotional electromagnetic spectrum.
I'm sorry, what?
7 colors, each representing a different emotion. The yellow light of fear lets Kyle manipulate the worst horrors in your mind. The more scared you are of him, the stronger he becomes.
Orange light is fueled by bottomless avarice.
Okay, so it was
not
green.
merely his enemies' attacks, but also their souls.
Red is rage, ripping out Kyle's heart and replacing his blood with napalm.
Jesus.
Which sounds like it sucks, but it's metal as hell.
Blue light
It
is
is.
powered by hope.
Okay, it
allows
was hope.
Kyle to
I was
heal
wondering.
wounds,
I
resist
was
mental
close.
domination, and
I was right.
supercharge
Actually,
his
never
ring.
mind.
Indigo is compassion, reducing his opponent's
Okay, I don't
will
remember
to
this
fight
one.
and letting him open portals across space, connecting him to others.
The final one was the sapphire light of love. With it, he can trap enemies within crystal matrices and control their minds. But Kyle only mastered it by forgiving himself for Alex's tragic death.
Oh, self-love. I get it. Must be nice. And with their powers combined, he doesn't just make his enemies taste the rainbow.
The lights of the spectrum merged, and Kyle became a White Lantern.
Okay,
with
so
total
that's how it
control over
works.
the power of life.
Wiz, I can
So it
imagine
is
an
life.
attack
Okay.
more useless in a death battle than something that makes you live.
Empowered by the physical embodiment of all life in the DC multiverse, Kyle is vastly more powerful than any other Lantern in existence.
Far stronger than Hal, who could harness the energy of every power battery across the multiverse.
Not only can Kyle instantly heal all wounds, purify corruption, and resurrect the dead, the white light of life is strong enough to go up against threats to all of creation, like the Anti-Monitor.
Okay, so it's not totally useless.
Especially after Kyle visited the Source and acquired the life equation. Essentially the source code to reality, the life equation is mathematical
Code
proof
to it.
that
How the
life
hell
is
does
worth
that work?
living.
With it, Kyle can alter all of reality at a whim, even threatening the new gods like Darkseid.
The life equation,
can't even threaten Darkseid? What the hell?
Is a conceptual artifact from a higher reality, originating in a platonic realm that is, in a sense, more real than we are.
So it's not a shock that the equation made Kyle too powerful.
He struggled to control it, and it subconsciously manifested a being composed of his fears and anxieties. Oblivion. Kyle's greatest weakness was still himself.
Kyle spent his whole life struggling with the power that the gods granted him, and throughout it all, he always rose to the occasion, carrying the universe on his back.
But ultimately, the only way to stop power from corrupting is to spread it. So Kyle split the life equation into pieces to found his second core, the White Lanterns.
Oh,
and together,
damn.
they shattered Oblivion, destroying the self-doubt that plagued Kyle once and for all.
Not bad for a comic book geek from LA.
And now he was the one giving out rings of unlimited power to people who weren't sure if they could command it.
So he told them the truth. You can't teach someone how to use such power. You have to learn yourself, making mistakes along the way.
But with the power of life at their command, there's no end to their journey, only endless beginnings.
It's true. The one way you learn is by making mistakes.
Beerus versus Sailor Galaxia?
Yep.
No? Well, that's because it was taken off YouTube for being too anime.
I'm sorry, what?
We've got a solution. It's our own website.
Oh,
That's www.deathbattle.gg. It's like our own private Patreon, with a store for Death Battle merch and a complete Death Battle video archive.
Oh, damn.
It's got episodes that YouTube has banned, blocked, and censored, and there's even more goodies on the way. So check out deathbattle.gg
Yeah, 'cause YouTube's a-
live right now.
Fucking pain in the ass these days. I don't know why. I might check that out later myself after this.
All right, the combatants are set, and we've run the data through all possibilities.
It's
Time for a death battle! Thanks, sunglass boomerang already.
All right, I'm not rusty at all.
Okay, just take it out the way
Green
like
Lantern
that.
Officer Kyle Rayner here. Ring says you've got a Class A galactic super weapon, whatever that is. I'm thinking it's the giant mech. Why don't you hand it over?
Yeah,
Your
no.
gun's mine, officer. Just who the hell do you think you are?
Oh, it's on. Thanks, broken like that. Gun the missiles! Or, nope, the drills! He just sucked up like nothing.
Told us God with authority.
Tell me about it.
Huh? Oh, the music's going in hard already. Hey, get back here with that.
That's nothing! My drill will pierce the heavens! Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann!
Dang, Tengen Toppa already? White Lantern time. Okay,
Really cool.
it is.
I'm a
Lantern. We do the impossible.
See the invisible.
Touch the untouchable.
Break the unbreakable.
If you ain't know,
Now you know.
Those things stick regardless, dude. I'm just imagining how many realities they're breaking right now.
If there's a wall in my way, I'll smash it down!
Ooh. Damn. Oh.
stop fighting. Think about your fear of death, your love of your friends, your compassion for me, your hope for the future. Choose life.
Have faith in the Simone that
Believes in you. Ha. Pretty sure you just screwed yourself there, Kyle.
Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann! My drill is the drill that will transcend the heavens! Giga Drill Brain!
I know I'm gonna try to copying it. Uh-oh.
The super weapon wasn't your mech.
It was me.
Then, Simone, I'm taking you in brightest day, in blackest night. No evil shall escape my sight. Let those who worship evil's might beware my power. Green Lantern's
Right. Oh.
See you grit those teeth!
You'd make a good lantern.
You would, wouldn't you?
Simon of Earth, you have been chosen.
You're kidding me.
Just who the hell do you think I am?
KO.
For the guy with the snazzy sunglasses!
When both combatants possess unlimited power, it's hard to judge them by our normal standards.
It is.
Take speed. Simone can hit an infinite number of targets all at once, and Kyle can fly fast enough to surpass the normal concept of speed itself.
When you control space and time, things like strength and speed kind of become irrelevant.
Instead,
Yeah.
let's analyze them through a lens more applicable to beings as absurd as Simone and Kyle. Their imagination, their willpower, and their ultimate potential.
First
Okay.
up, imagination. The boundless things they could conjure to use against the other. Both could think up just about anything the other could, like absorbing each other's attacks, fighting across time, anything.
Simone did have a few attacks that Kyle hasn't encountered, like the probability-altering missiles.
Right.
But it's likely Kyle could adapt considering his ring could protect against existence being erased across the multiverse.
And in general, Kyle's constructs were a lot more creative than Simone's arsenal, which was mostly drills. Though again, nothing Simone couldn't adapt to with, say, his energy absorption. Imagination is a draw.
That leaves
Yep.
the other main factor for both characters, the origin of their unbelievable might, their willpower.
And that's really gonna be the winning factor here, since it's the source of everything for both of them. Whoever's got the stronger willpower wins.
Both can manipulate reality on a multiversal scale with their willpower, but we can use dimensions to roughly calculate a difference. This might sound absurd for most characters, but it's necessary for beings as beyond the pale as Simone and Kyle.
The multiverse labyrinth that Simone absorbed contained 11 spatial dimensions. That's 1.3 dimensions less than the multiverse Kyle's power can threaten.
Right.
And
You only had
remember,
12 and
each
third.
numbered dimension infinitely surpasses the one below it.
Which meant Kyle's willpower was stronger at a base level. However, that doesn't necessarily mean Kyle gets the edge, because if there's one thing both of these guys are known for, it's that they can always get stronger.
So to determine the limits of their willpower, willpower, we first need to understand their full potential.
Simon's whole deal with spiral power is how he can constantly evolve to get stronger. So just because Simone starts off weaker doesn't mean he'll stay that way.
Absorbing the multiverse labyrinth required Simone to leapfrog several orders of infinity in an instant. Simone made himself that much stronger through sheer force of will.
More than enough to close the gap with Kyle, especially since spiral power also lets him regenerate his body down to an informational level.
In other words, it had an
Kyle's
infinite
never
healing
destroyed something
factor.
that thoroughly
Kyle had
before.
nothing
Without
like
the
that.
ability to easily kill Simone, it was only a matter of time before Kyle's ring ran low on charge. Especially since Simone could likely regenerate for at least a week straight, like Nia did. While Blue Lantern Light could boost Kyle's power, he's never jumped several orders of infinity in strength like Simone has.
And while Kyle could manipulate emotions to reduce Simone's willpower, Simone resisting the labyrinth's mental manipulation meant he could power through anything Kyle threw at him.
Everything, that is, except for the life equation. It originated from a higher level of reality and would have more than even the odds.
Right.
And Kyle couldn't control it.
Right,
It was
Kyle
just
couldn't
as
control
much a
that. He had to
detriment
split it
to him
up.
as an asset, forcing him to relinquish it to keep from destroying reality and himself.
Compare that to Simone, who merged with a version of himself writing a version of Gurren Lagann, and using spiral power to make that fiction into reality.
A pretty similar level of reality to the life equation, and a level of power Simone had no trouble embracing and mastering by the end of his story. No matter how you look at it, Simone might start weaker, but his peak will always transcend Kyle's. Isn't that how all of Simone's battles usually go anyway?
Pretty
That's
much.
Gurren Lagann in a nutshell.
So Simone's incredible potential eclipsed Kyle, which means his willpower was ultimately greater. Kyle may have embodied life itself, but Simone's unstoppable evolutionary potential would shatter even this lantern's light.
I hope Kyle at least dug the fight, because when it comes to death battle losers, he was a dead ringer.
The winner is Simone the Digger.
Next time on Death Battle.
Okay, that was good. Wasn't this Jazz? Well, hold on now. We're going old school here? No way. Wily
Subscribe and
Coyote
join us a member
versus
to see more
Tomcat.
Death Battle.
Oh, now that's going to be hilarious. I grew up with both of these. Wile E. Coyote and Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry. Oh, this matchup's going to be... This match is going to be hilarious. So see. Thing is, who's going to win? How is it going to go? Because both have fourth wall breaking abilities and high durability, considering everything they go through trying to get their respective prey. Wiley's with Roadrunner and Tom with Jerry. I might have to say Wile E. Coyote suffered a lot worse than Tom has, but we'll see. They're cartoons, so kind of hard to place a good idea on it. But again, we'll see. I need to stop repeating myself so much. But anyway, thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please do leave a like and a comment below. And until next time, Masters and Misses, we hope to see you again soon.